The match against Hinato, do you think that win against you was legit? I know when Andy Varela talks about the matchups when it comes to PGF, he doesn't look at a matchup with you being a PGF matchup. He looks at the matchup with you being a way to solidify who the best 77 kg 10 Planet athlete is. Do you view it in the same way?
Andy, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Andy,
Was he the one that buggy choked you? That was the first time I ever seen a buggy choke.
he has done that. Yeah, he's the one who started the buggy choke trend on me, yeah.
Wow. Interesting. That really blew up after that.
It sure did. Yeah, thanks for the reminder.
PGF fans, I am with the #1 contender. It is PJ Butter Panther Barch, and we are in his own gym here in Chula Vista. I feel like this is an awesome moment because it's been a long time coming since you finally got your own gym. So what is it like? It's freaking beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it has been a long time coming. We were moving all over the place. In fact, you stopped in at one of our spots that we were at temporarily. But yeah, I mean, we built the place out. It looks great. We're in a basement here in Chula Vista. We're going to probably maybe even expand some space and things like that because things are going so well. And yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm happy to be here.
And yesterday you were teaching your students some EBI overtime stuff, so we're going to get into that as well. But before we get into the tough questions that need to be asked, because, you know, I'm a journalist, we're going to have to ask some toughies. We have to start out on a light note, okay? Can you please explain to me what's going on in this picture? I think this is the most precious picture we'll ever get of you.
That's Songkran in Thailand, yeah.
You look so happy. You look like you're 5.
Yeah, it's because I get to be a kid again, you know, and play with water guns and stuff. It's the Thai New Year party, and like in some places they do it for like a whole week. When we were in Koh Tao, they were doing it for one day, and it's basically like most things are shut down besides like obviously like bars and shit, and then they're washing each other or washing away the sins of each other. It's like a Thai Buddhist tradition, and they throw water on each other. They have like squirt guns, you know, like pour water everywhere. It's like super dangerous because you're like riding mopeds around and getting like hosed down as you're driving a moped and stuff. I think there's like a lot of accidents on that day. It's kind of dangerous, but it's fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun that day.
And that was all part of Nogi Summit.
Yeah, that's Phil Schwartz's camp, Nogi Summit. They do them all over the place, and I think they do that Thailand one probably once a year. I don't want to miss another one. It was great.
Well, I think there's another one coming up in August with Gio, Roberto Jimenez, and Boogie, and some other people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to go to that one. So tell me about the experience, about just getting to travel there and going with the intention to teach in spread jiu-jitsu.
Camps are great. Yeah, I don't know. I've always enjoyed it. It's like, especially when they're drawn out throughout a whole week and you're there for the whole process of it. It kind of feels like summer camp. If you had like a good upbringing and good childhood, you might have had summer camp and stuff like that. I remember some vague instances of summer camps, but we, you know, you like kind of like feeling out the people, seeing who you're gonna vibe with, who you can train with, you know, like meeting cool people, learning jiu-jitsu, like doing fun stuff. Like the camps are really cool.
I don't know if you were anywhere near a beach, but is surfing something that you still do? Because I know it was a big part of your life before and even during some of the jiu-jitsu stuff. So are you still getting in some wave action?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like the only other thing that I'm halfway decent at. I'm only like probably like a purple belt in jiu-jitsu surfing if on a good day. But it's something that I've done my whole life, and I'm like kind of like the guy in jiu-jitsu that's been there for like 15 years, you know, that's still kind of like a brown or a purple belt because he doesn't show up that much and he doesn't put like a ton of effort in, but he's always like kind of hard to kill. That's kind of like me with surfing. It's like something like he comes in for a month and then he's out for 6 months. It's kind of like me in surfing. I love it, but like I get busy and I have all this jiu-jitsu stuff and everything.
I don't want to get completely off topic, but I'm genuinely curious. What is your advice for someone getting into surfing? Because that gets like, it freaks me out getting like hit by the waves or like taken back. So like, what is your beginner advice for people?
It's like exposure therapy. If that's like the fear that you have or something like that, it's like just like getting choked out or having like a guy on top of you, you know, like you just have to do it and like probably learn the ways to like mitigate drowning and shit, you know?
Yes, that's very important because you can tap out during jiu-jitsu. You know, the waves you kind of have to like.
Ocean doesn't deal with your taps, no.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad you had fun in Thailand. Now that's a good break for you before PGF, which is going to be a test of, you know, your longevity with 3 matches a night, 12 total, and then you still have to make it into the playoffs, which a lot of people are betting that you will. So when you look at a tournament format like this, what is your mindset going in?
Well, for one, just like to go to the point of like the schedule of it, recovery is going to be like a huge facet to that thing, you know, like, so like sleeping a ton is going to be important for me, whether it's like at night, naps during the day, or whatever. Like I definitely plan on being like basically like a lion in their pride, you know, like trying to, like, they sleep all day and then they hunt for like maybe an hour, you know, like that's like, that would be like kind of what I'd be trying to do the whole week I'm in Vegas. There is either sleeping or choking people, you know, like those are the only 2 things I plan on doing out there. And then yeah, just taking care of myself and eating right and shit like that. I don't think mentally it'll be too challenging unless like injuries prop up and stuff, but like, you know, I haven't had much going on with my body in a negative way, so and I think like, yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna like take care of ourselves and stuff like that, and even if I did get hurt, I would probably just fight through it unless it was catastrophic in some kind of way.
So when we're looking at having to live with the people that you're competing against in different Airbnbs, it's not going to be separated into teams. It originally was, but things have moved. So is there anyone in particular that you wouldn't really want to be roommates with?
Roommates? Yeah, probably any of them, to be honest. I don't know these guys, and if I do, they're jiu-jitsu people, man. They're going to be weird and pretty obscene. Some of those guys are pretty loud in the chats and stuff that we have, so
yes.
I can't imagine what they're like locked in a house with each other. So yeah, I mean, probably, yeah, none of them. I don't think I would have a room with any of them, but maybe we'll be all right. I don't know.
There was definitely a lot of people who had something to say.
I don't think I am staying with them, by the way. I have options of places I can stay out there, so I don't.
Nice.
I haven't really talked to Brandon yet. No, I'm just getting a little old. I'm just getting a little old. So.
Well, a lot of the people that you could have been potentially living with, you know, had a few things to say about the rankings. You know, maybe they thought they should have been higher, this or that. You do have a couple of matches against some of the guys that are in this competition. One of them, Andy Varela, another Renato Canuto.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Renato first.
Those are just losses that I have, by the way. I've had matches with other guys on the list as well that I've won.
Yes, that you've beaten a lot too. Yes, but the losses that you had that we have to talk about. With Kasai, there was a point where Eddie Bravo was just yelling on the sideline saying, that's bullshit, because the point system is a little bit subjective, and it was, you know, a jiu-jitsu tournament where no one got the sub on you, but it was, you know, points in Hanato's case. So when you're looking at the match against Hanato, do you think that win against you was legit?
I mean, that's like a super subjective thing to say, because I do think that like the points should have been scored to me, and I don't say that lightly. Like typically, like, and I don't even know all the rules all the time, but I'm pretty sure it was IBJJF rules, and in that case, like, I should have probably gotten 2 points for that situation. And then in that case, like, here's what happens is that like I'm now down. No, maybe I'm not down. I don't know, but I think I was down, but I wasn't winning. That's for sure. And so now I'm overextending myself. You know what I mean? And so now Hanato's having more opportunity. Like, you know, from there the whole match changes. It doesn't necessarily mean that like I don't know what would have happened after that point. You know what I mean? Had I been scored those points. But now, because I'm down, I have to overextend myself. Now there's more opportunity for him to score on me. Maybe I'm more tired. Maybe he can box me out better, different things like that. He also wasn't awarded points that he should have been probably awarded too. I think in just like a opposition to the points that I wasn't scored or awarded, you know what I mean? But I don't think I ever would have been in that position where he was taking my back. I mean, I can't say for certain, but I definitely wouldn't have as easily been in that position with him nearly taking my back, because I was overextending myself trying to make up for the points I didn't get prior in the match. You know what I mean? So who's to say what would have happened or anything like that? But did I think that those were points? Probably, yeah.
So do you feel like a matchup against him would be particularly interesting to kind of stick a pin in, you know, who's the better grappler there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different format. I mean, you could never. You could
And the
never.
format is now better though now because you won't really have that question. Like the only way you can get points is if you get the kill. Like
Sure. I don't think that you can ever determine based on one match who's the better grappler for certain, or any one rule set or anything like that. Especially here, you know, like who knows? Like maybe Hanato's like going to be saving his energy to rack up subs with other guys. You know what I mean? And he's going to just box me out for 6 minutes, you know what I mean? And then I'm literally just speculating, you know what I mean? So it's hard to say. It's hard to exactly agree that would determine who's the best grappler out of this situation. But surely, of course, I want that match run back. You know what I mean? Like anytime there's a loss over another person, I mean, and he's like really stamped himself as one of the best in the sport over the past like decade or whatever. He's been involved in it, and like one of the most exciting guys too. So. For sure I want to match with him again. I have a lot of respect for him and what he's done and stuff like that. He hasn't competed, I don't think, in the last 2 years or so, so it's kind of exciting that he is doing this. But yeah, for sure, and I definitely would like that match. Yeah, anybody that beat me, fuck yeah, I want the match bad.
And you got your black belt in November of 2016. He got his in December, so you guys are kind of like on the same length of having their black belts.
Yeah.
But you've been a little bit more active on the...
Recently. I mean, he was back in the day, I think he was way more active than me even, but I was out for a bit with like ACL injuries and shit like that, so I don't know.
And talking about that ACL injury, you had quite a shift in mindset when it came to your purpose in jiu-jitsu. Can you kind of talk about what exactly changed for you after a major injury like tearing your ACL?
Interesting. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of what I did prior was ego fueled, you know, like a lot of like it was all stuff basically like from my upbringing of just like having a chip on my shoulder, trying to prove myself and like prove my worth to people through something like grappling and stuff like that, you know. And then, you know, when something big happens and that's your whole identity and that's your whole like you know, it tells you you're worth something, and then you lose that thing, you have to like kind of reevaluate things a little bit and stuff like that. And then there's like a big question of like, why do I do this? And I'm like, oh, that's maybe not always the best reason, you know what I mean? So I actually think I got a little bit worse at jiu-jitsu for a little while I was like asking myself all these questions. And then I had to find some new purpose where like, you know, you're just being grateful, you're trying to make your, like the people that are important to you proud, you know, you're trying to like, make money to sustain yourself and for your community and things like that, and your family. You know, you're trying to like express all the hard work and dedication that you've put into this, and how creative and athletic you are, and you're trying to like, you know, show that and test yourself in some kind of way, and so now it's a little bit less about like necessarily like proving myself or my worth to people, especially people that don't matter too much. And it's all those other things that I find to be like rooted in like a little bit more of a better place for me personally.
And a lot of jiu-jitsu for some athletes does come back to proving something. I know when Andy Varela talks about the matchups when it comes to PGF, he doesn't look at a matchup with you being a PGF matchup. He looks at the matchup with you being a way to solidify who the best 77 kg 10 Planet athlete is. Do you view it in the same way?
ADCC, I didn't perform as well, but I know against him it's different. Like I just know I have the better skills than PJ. And he's 10 Planet, like he's cool, but at the same time it's like we're different teams, we're different, you know, scenarios. So. And I want to be the number one 77 guy that when people think of 10 Planet, they're like, Andy's the best 77 kg guy out there. And that's always kind of like a battle between me and PJ. And I'm like, I got the win over him, but well, I'll make sure I'm number one after this, you know?
Andy, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Andy, he has a lot to say sometimes over the past few years like about me and stuff. I don't know, maybe he doesn't like me or maybe he does, and it's just he performs better like with a little bit of pressure on himself and a little bit of like anger and like a chip on his shoulder towards me or something like that. I think it's more that he just likes to have a little bit of fun, and like he'll kind of do anything for some clout and some excitement and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, it's exciting to think about something like that. I don't think it would definitely mean something if he then like went 2-0 and put a stamp in like our saga, you know what I mean? That would definitely mean something. But I don't think Andy's gonna submit me in 6 minutes. There's no way. And like, I think that like I am capable of not only beating Andy, but beating anybody in my division on any given day. Like I think that like I have the skills and the athletic like proclivity to beat anyone in my division.
And you definitely have the discipline as well and the work ethic, and that's why so many people are such big fans of you, and you have such a big community around you supporting you. When it comes to the matchups between some of the other guys that you have faced, you have big wins over some other people. So do you think that you're just going to be able to run through some of them and get quick submissions and get the quick 6 on the board for your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think like what's cool about this format is that there is a discrepancy in skill. Like I think that like it, at least like for now, I guess, I don't know, but like when there's 20 guys, of course there's going to be like some discrepancies and stuff. And like when you're seeing like who's number 1 4-man brackets and matches and things like that, or just I don't mean to pick them out, but any like jiu-jitsu super fight thing, it tends to be 2 guys right around the same level. And so it can be sometimes boring because like, they're feeling each other out a lot. They're also 15-minute matches. Like I think that like you're gonna have the same output, like an athlete is gonna have the same output whether it's 6 minutes or 15, right? Like no matter what, they care enough and they have enough like thought to put into things, or like feeling put into things, the same amount of effort, whether it's 6 minutes or whether it's 15 minutes. And so wouldn't you want to see the action condensed in the 6 minutes instead of a whole like a long 15 minutes where it's a bit more drawn out? And I think that wait, what was the question? I think I went off the rails a little bit there.
The question was if some of the other people on the PGF roster are just going to be like quick 6s.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah, I did go off the rails.
No, but you were kind of on the rails, okay. But it did go
but so there's gonna be discrepancies in skill too, right? And so like that's good for viewership. I think that like if you want to see highlights, you want to see some freaking Hindula teams and stuff like that, and you want to see some massive upsets. You know what I mean? Because like sure, there's some like ADCC level guys, and then there's like some guys that like couldn't even make it past the 3rd round at trials that are going to be matching up, and maybe like one of these guys buggy chokes an ADCC guy, or like there's just some crazy shit that could happen. So it makes for excitement, and personally, like, yeah, I mean, definitely need to rack up points. Like, I run through my head all the different scenarios on how I want to approach different matches, and I'm sure it's going to be kind of depending on like each person and things like that. I have different ideas for not every person, but stylistically, like what kind of people I'm going to need to just give up 3 for and go for something else, and which ones I'm going to continue to go for just chokes and things like that, because I'm going to have kind of game plans for myself that I'm going to apply to different people strategically based on kind of like what their like where they tend to play their game and what kind of an athlete they are and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I have big ideas for, but yeah, it's definitely, there's going to be much easier people in this to submit than others. Like there's just no question about that.
And it's definitely going to be an interesting dynamic because it is a team thing. Do you have a certain coach that you want to be your coach?
Coach, I mean, they're all kind of legends, right? Jean-Jacques and I have a lot of rapport already. And I love his insights. He's like magic, so he's the one that I know the best for sure. I don't know Dean Listener a lot. I don't know Higan very much either. But if all these stars want to go with Higan, he's obviously kind of fun. I don't know. And Dean Listener is like an American legend when it comes to jiu-jitsu. I know Roger a little bit just from this last Polaris, and he was a nice guy. And I think that like him watching me win, is cool. And maybe like we don't have any rapport really, but like it would be cool to be on his team. But any of them are cool people, man. I don't and have like great jiu-jitsu and a lot of history. So but yeah, like I said, Jean-Jacques will be really cool.
And so when you think about 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, which obviously you represent, what does 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu mean for the sport versus Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in your mind?
for the sport?
It means it's kind of American and different, you know. It's just helping us to branch into new markets and find more people. You know what I mean? That's all it is. Like, there's certain people that walk into a 10th Planet gym or get attracted to Eddie Bravo or something like that would never be attracted to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, you know what I mean, like, or whatever they stand for and the way they do things and stuff like that. And then the same goes vice versa, you know what I mean? There's people that like walk into a 10th, I don't know, but the same goes both ways, right? So it just opens up the market more. It helps us like push into a different direction. Eddie has like created this like massive I feel like he's the basis for a lot of what is happening in the US. He has a huge like portion of the market share and like well, maybe not market share anymore, but more so like he is to thank for a lot of what's going on in the US with the nogi scene right now, for the way that he was ready to just like take off and do things a different way. And he brought so many like Americans to it, you know. We have like all the weirdo like
and Mexicans.
And, aren't you Filipino?
And Mexican. Yeah.
Okay. He has all the guys that like want to lay on their back and play rubber guard and you know, like all the boogies of the world and people like tattooed and Mexican or like weird white guys that like, you know, like whatever.
The
like,
white nerds.
Yeah, those guys, you know. And then a bunch of like wrestlers that come by because they don't want to train, they don't want to put on like a freaking, you know, a thing and then get like cloth pulled around on them and stuff like that. And they're like, oh well, this fits me better because this is more similar. And so then you get like wrestlers and MMA guys, and now you have like a weird hodgepodge of like vastly differing people in this association, all kind of trying to like elevate the sport and the association and their own brands and everything like that. So yeah, I mean it's cool, and I love Eddie, and I think that like Eddie's done so much for me and for the whole system and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely incredible that 10 Planet went from like having 2 people at ADCC to 2022 sending 8 athletes for 10 Planet.
You know your numbers.
When it comes to ADCC this upcoming year, 77 kg, there's 14 people locked in. 2 spots left. Who do you think are getting those 2?
77 2 spots. You know, I haven't done a full inventory of who's left over and stuff like that. I don't think Andy Varela has an invite yet, but I think he will get invited. I think he's almost like guaranteed one of those spots. Everybody's like very hot on Andy right now, and his performances and the way he markets himself and the way he shows up.
Leaning towards Oliver Taza, like
over Andy.
No, but he was a fan of both.
But there's two invites you said left.
Yeah.
So who would be the third if it's just those 2?
I'm trying to think back to the ADCC live chats. You know, there's a lot of information that goes
I know
down
people
there.
talked about Tynan Dorpa, but I don't think he can make 77 kgs. Plus, it wouldn't be fair. I don't think Mo would invite Tynan over Oliver or Andy. I guess maybe who's the European guy? Tommy Langacker or Mateusz Szczynski. Those 2 are pretty good prospects at 77. Everybody else, I can't think of anybody else that's been making waves and stuff, or that has been in it before that isn't invited, or that showed up to the trials and stuff. But I think Langacker, Mateus, Andy, Taza are probably the big 4. I couldn't not see Andy getting an invite, and Taza just is a grinder, you know, like he probably deserves it too. So I don't know, because yeah, it seems like they care a lot more too. I don't know. I will say that like, yeah, I think Taza did 4 trials and they like to see how many trials he did, and Andy only did 1 trial. But he did do some opens and shit. I don't know. I would say those 2 over the Europeans, which I don't know if that's fair or not, but I think that's probably what I would think.
Kade Ruotolo is a champion coming back. He recently, or actually upcoming, he's going to have his first MMA fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, coming up with 1 championship. Would you ever do a match with 1 championship?
I would. I would if the contract looked good and stuff. Yeah.
Run it back with Kade at one point.
Yeah.
Was he the one that buggy choked you? That was the first time I ever seen a buggy choke.
He has done that. Yeah, he's the one who started the buggy choke trend on me. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. That really blew up after that.
It sure did. Yeah, thanks for the reminder.
So anyway, back to PGF. We have a big week ahead of us. The draft is coming up. I'm super excited for you. $100,000 split between the team, but also $20K coming for the playoffs. That's a big amount of money for jiu-jitsu, but the sport is growing in general. So what does this mean to you, like for the sport of jiu-jitsu, that we're starting to get these bigger payout opportunities?
Yeah, you see it every once in a while. I just hope it's sustainable. You know what I mean? I love it. I think it's amazing. It looks like we're going in the right direction. I hope it's sustainable. You know what I mean? And I hope, because you see big money ones pop up, and then you don't really see them. Like we've seen 100K before, but I don't think I've seen a spider for 100K since. This is for a team, so it's split between 4 people or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you're seeing big numbers with the guys in Kazakhstan or whatever too. Aiga.
1 mil.
Yeah.
That's legit.
So I just hope that jiu-jitsu is producing the revenue that it can sustain such numbers. You know what I mean? And if it is, man, fucking great. Like I hope that this continues. Yeah, I think it's amazing for the sport, and I love to be on the forefront of like watching and doing tournaments for a couple $100 that I thought was like outrageous that you're doing this, that you're even making any money from it, to like, yeah, like walking away from Polaris with a bank transfer of 20K, you know?
Yes, congratulations on that. Also, you are close friends with our boy Craig Jones, who has been very almost Jake
I wouldn't say
Polish.
close friends. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you guys just hang out
it.
every now and then. Best buddies, snuggle buddies. No?
He won't snuggle with me. No, all that gay talk is not serious.
Okay, it's just for show. But he has been the one kind of on the forefront of really pushing for pay, and now he's doing Mexican ground karate with karate combat. So, you know, what is your take on the sidelines from watching that?
The Mexican ground karate?
Not the Mexican ground karate, but his like very forefront, being involved, trying to like talk to Mo and the ADCC live chats, being like, "Come on, join the podcast. Talk to me about ADCC pay."
Look,
this is less than a hot dog eating competition.
I think Craig has. I don't always know where his intentions lie. You know, like I think like, you know, like sometimes he just wants to be contrarian and talk shit and get on people's bad sides just for fun. And I think he just enjoys that spotlight. And I think that maybe he just doesn't want to do ADCC all that bad too. But like, I also think that Craig has a great heart, and like, even if his intentions are somewhere else, like he is trying to also like use all those things to now like help out everybody else, because like I do think like Craig cares about the sport as a whole. I think that as much shit as he talks and is like, I think that he cares about his guys, and I think he cares about the sport as a whole and stuff like that. So he's gonna use whatever platform and excitement to also do a good deed for all the grapplers too. You know, he's not afraid to like piss people off along the way and stuff like that, because he kind of like, he made it to fuck you jiu-jitsu money status, which isn't that much, but like he made it to fuck you jiu-jitsu money status, kind of, in a sense.
He's definitely using his platform for good, but I do know that Mo Jassim really gives a shit about jiu-jitsu too.
Mo's done so much for the sport too.
Exactly, yeah.
And I don't know if it's entirely up to Mo how much people get paid for
He
things.
said on the
stuff.
live chat that that's like a priority for him. Like first making the women's divisions was a priority, which he did. He made it add another division, and now, you know, that's another priority.
Yeah.
But
Craig is just coming in here hot.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And yeah, I think it's good. It keeps everybody honest. You know what I mean? It makes Mo answer the questions that maybe wouldn't be asked sometimes. You know what I mean? And I think Mo has the best intentions with what he's doing as well. You know what I mean? I don't think Mo's a greedy guy, and I think he's trying to elevate the sport as much as possible. You know what I mean? And I think that like. But I think it's also good that you got somebody on the other end with a platform that's asking the right questions. I just hope it doesn't ever go awry, you know, where it's like, and I don't think it will. Like, I think that like secretly Mo and Craig love each other, even if they're beefing a little bit. Like they have a mutual respect for one another, that like they aren't gonna like go off the deep end in any way, because they're both like smart dudes, you know. So I think that like it's good. It's all good for the sport, I think, at the end of the day.
What did you think of Gordon Ryan's retirement?
Did he retire?
He kind of said that his stomach issues were such a problem that he won't be competing. I have a feeling that we're obviously going to see him at ADCC.
Like competing, you're saying, you think?
Yeah.
But he didn't say if he is or not.
He didn't confirm or deny.
What do I think of Gordon retiring? I mean, I feel like I saw it coming. Like, he's been like trying to take a step back a little bit. He's been pushing Marigali a ton as kind of like, you know, you're the new guy to like carry the flag for the team type of guy. So I mean, I guess I could have saw that coming. I think Gordon puts a lot of pressure on himself, and it's probably a lot of weight to carry, and a lot of stress to carry, and I can imagine that's not helping with his stomach and all that shit, because like, you know, if I get one or two mean texts or Instagram messages, like, you know, I'm like stressed out for a night or two over it, you know. Gordon's getting them all day, you know, like maybe he is a sociopath and doesn't feel things, but I have a feeling that one way or another it's probably stressing him out a bit, and maybe it's good for him, you know. Like I think he's proved a lot about himself and his jiu-jitsu, and I don't know if he has anything else to prove, so like probably some of the fun's gone for him too at this point. So I can't see why he wouldn't maybe think about retiring if it's maybe better for his health, and if he's already proved whatever he needs to prove. Like, you know, there's not a lot of exciting ideas for people. You could tell me that like matching up with Gordon Ryan is going to be so exciting, because like I don't know if I've been excited for a Gordon Ryan match in a long time, because he's pretty much just steamrolling him, you know. I don't know. It's great to watch him do it, but sometimes it's a little boring. But it's mostly great to watch him do jiu-jitsu, because you learn a lot. I always learn when I watch Gordon. But, you know, I could have seen this retirement coming, for sure. It's a little early, but live hard, die hard, I guess.
And I know that you're going to get to training at Open Mat, right? You're going to get some.
I'm gonna train a little bit, yeah.
Nice.
I compete on Monday, so it's kind of soon, but yeah.
Yeah. So we don't want to take up too much of your time. We're going to end on one last fun question. There is a zombie apocalypse, and San Diego, Chula Vista is one of the first places hit. You could pick one coach from PGF. They just all happen to be in Chula Vista right now. 1 and 3 people from the PGF roster to help you slay all the zombies. Who are you picking?
Dean's pretty hardcore, and he knows the neighborhood better. I mean, I know he's from down this way, and he's pretty like hardcore, like street dude almost, you know. I don't know, like Dean's kind of hardcore, so I mean, might not be a bad pick, but I don't know if he's fast. I could picture Roger being a bit faster. He's got like longer legs and he's a bit bigger. Roger's quite smart too, I think. I mean, I think they're all you gotta be pretty smart, but I don't know. Dean would be a good pick for me. Jean-Jacques they're a little older now, aren't they? I don't know. I shouldn't have said that. I don't know. I love those guys. Jean-Jacques is like my idol, but you know, my life's on the line because zombies are coming. No, I redo it. You know, I gotta stick with my grandfather, Jean-Jacques.
Yeah, you gotta protect him at all costs,
yeah.
Dickhead.
I know. I can't be thinking selfishly. Jean-Jacques it is, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, my grandfather of jiu-jitsu.
And then 3 teammates from the PGF roster.
Okay, interesting. Well, hopefully Andy would be willing to get over whatever he feels for me. I don't have any feelings for him personally. Like, of course I want to beat him, but that's not like an emotional want to beat him. That's a little bit more like, you know, that's for me. But Andy's very athletic, and like I could see him like kind of front kicking a lot of guys and jumping around and stuff. Like he's pretty athletic, so he
That's a
could.
very interesting way to attack a zombie. I like that though. 4 fingers to the face, you know,
So I
blind
could
him.
see Andy would be one of the more dangerous guys to keep on your side. Hanato's the same way actually too. So actually, like those two, I see them like very similar. Like a lot of flips involved and acrobatics and stuff. So those 2 guys would be really good guys to have on your team. Jabroni, grappler, is kind of funny, so I keep him. I don't think he's very quick or like lethal towards zombies.
And then you can sacrifice
because they can
him
bite him if
maybe.
he's like leg locking and shit. So he's kind of maybe helpless with the zombies, but he's funny, so he might be good to have just for like humor at the end of the world, you know.
I like those picks. Well, there you have it. If there's a zombie apocalypse, those are the people he's choosing. PGF is just around the corner. Thank you so much for the time, PJ. You got to get over there and get some drilling in.